So let's talk about another layer here. We have something called tattoo layers, and in your, there's lots of ways that you can get tattoos. A lot of people actually make tattoos on system layers as well as a tattoo layer. So this is a tattoo here. Um, it's got this like I don't know, it looks like a little I always think it's a dragon, I don't know what it is. But this is a tattoo layer, so you would be able to, apply this as well, and that layer can get added underneath the clothes, obviously, right? Because tattoos are under your clothes. Okay, so, um, let me find one that we will be able to really quickly identify. Okay, here's some eyelashes. So let me add it real fast so you guys can see what it would look like on Ruth. There it is.
Oh, so pretty.
We're not going to use these, but now Ruthie has some eyelashes. So, and it didn't really change anything else. It just put the eyelashes on top of Ruth's already like brown skin. So that's kind of what that is. Okay. So we have a better body shape. Um, but maybe we need like a better skin. So this is when you would go around and you would buy a skin that you like, right? Like you would go to there's a million. You would go and look for a skin that you liked for the that matches the body you're wearing. And for girls right now, for female-ish style avatars, you're talking Reborn Legacy, Maitreya, Cupra, there's a bunch of them, right? And I'll put some links to all of the ones you could go try and experiment with to see which one you like the best. Most of them have demos, and, if you're watching this, usually if you're watching this and it's like the wintry time of year, usually around Thanksgiving and Christmas, you can get good deals on bodies and heads and skins to come and update your avatar for, like, cheap or free or whatever. So, going back to my little default, uh, my default folder, let's talk about some of the stuff that you see in here. So, we've got some shapes, so you can try some different variations of shapes. This is a skinnier shape that's already built to adjust the potato underneath, right? Like, we've altered the potato part. Like, if I was in the shape or appearance mode and move the sliders, so we've now done that. You can also see that it even changes Ruth's face a little bit, right? Like, because we've changed the shape. Here's another version. Okay, this is like she's a little bit not a little bit, she's bigger. Bigger in all ways, and this is not me judging. You go, girl. There's like an hourglass variation. And you can just kinda see it changes the way that the body is shaped. So these are some defaults that come with all bodies, so you can, like, start somewhere and then just kind of, like, play with it. Let's go to skinny here because this right here, this is called physics, and this would be watch close now, if I add this, they make your boobs wiggle. So if I turn left or right, it adds movement to the breast so that they look more natural while you're walking around. So that's what that is if you wanna have the boobs do a little bit of wiggling here. You can buy more on the marketplace, like, if you want, like, really wiggly, you could get really wiggly. You can add things to make your booty wiggly. All of all the things can wiggle if you would like. So, um, alright, so that's that. I am still looking for a skin. Great. Okay. And I'm actually going to take off her pants and I'm going to take off her shirt. And yes, I'm going to blur out all the adulty parts. To keep things fairly PG, I'm going to add some panties here real quick because I don't want to get in trouble. So these are system panties. These are old school panties right here from like back in the day. Ruth could have worn these. So just like before with my system layers, I have added a system layer bra that was on like the little shirt, and now I'm gonna add a system layer pair of panties. to Ruth. There you go. And this is we've literally painted it on. We've painted this onto the body. It's not a mesh piece. If I were to get close, you can still very much see the definition of the mesh underneath. Okay, so this is we painted it on the body. Okay, so that's what that is. I think we can all agree that Ruth is looking a lot better. Her body looks so much better than it did before. So you remember before when I said that avatars are separated. We've got their head and we have their body. We got to go now. We have to have a head. So, just like before, where we wanted to hide the ugly Ruth body underneath and just only reflect the textures, that were on the Ruth onto the mesh that you were wearing. That's this right here. So, we want to do the same thing with the head. Now, there's a lot of places you can go buy a head. Uh, I wish I had like a tiny creator to promote. Genus, maybe Genus, Catwa, but pretty much everybody goes to Lulutka. Um, they're the best. So Lulutka has pretty much revolutionized how Second Life people do heads. They've they're perfect. I've been purchasing from them from a long time, and they make a really fabulous quality product. So, for now, I'm just gonna take this off so we can work on the head, and we'll come back to that. I am gonna wear the Lulutka Avalon head. This actually was recently upgraded, I think. Oh, I haven't upgraded it on this account yet, so we'll wear the old one. Just like the other ones, here's the head, so if I put this on and add it, there it is, okay? You can see it's kind of bleeding through my Ruth. So let me put on the hood and make this mesh piece here also baked on mesh like we did the body. Okay, so detach. All right, so I have now added the HUD because I know I'm going to want to tweak the head when I put it on, and we can see we've got our potato face from Ruth. Let's add. Perfect. There it is. This is our head. And most of these, when you put them on, they will alpha hide your potato face underneath it. And when alpha is the term that everybody uses to describe the act of hiding the potato underneath the mesh, right? So, if you go into your inventory and you type alpha, there's a really good chance that you'll be able to find the alpha layers that you can try to use. Some of them are already kind of like built in here, and they'll do things like make like your pants. Here, like, let me see here. If I add this pants alpha, it will make parts of her legs just vanish because it's like we've painted on this transparent, not really there texture. I don't know if it'll do it. Some of these are like really old. Let's see. Here's one. Yeah, so it literally makes that part of her body invisible. And the idea is you would be putting a piece of mesh on top of it so that, this body wouldn't be bleeding through. So that's what an alpha is. It makes something invisible. All right. So her face looks better. I would say her head looks better. You'll notice that this cool texture of that skin that I put on earlier doesn't extend up to her head because her head also has to have a different texture. We have a head texture, just like, you would have a mesh head and a mesh body, and then you would have a mesh body texture that you would, like skin that you would put on, and then a mesh head, like tattoo that you would put on as well. So, I'm here. Let's go to, we are wearing the Skinnery. So I'm typing Skinnery here. And what I'm doing is I'm looking for any bot head. So let's quickly talk about Liletka for a second because there's a little bit of context that I think you guys need to know. Liletka is by far the biggest head maker in Second Life by a lot. So much, in fact, that they revolutionized the way that they add detail to the mesh heads. So, for a long time, just like you would think that you would wear like a maybe like a tattoo that covered this brown with the details of something like this body, to make you look a specific way. And that would be what we called EVO, the baked on mesh reflection, reflecting back on the mesh on top of it. Now, Liletka did something different, did something new where they created almost like some sort of like, I don't know, mesh layer or something over the top of the head that makes it even more detailed. So most people use EVOX for most skins that you buy now. The big difference between the two when you're trying to figure out how they work is when you click EVOX, their skins will always, they're like, somehow they're backwards, right? So you'll notice like her lips are on her forehead and like that's her tongue, that your tongue and mouth that you're seeing here. So that if you've done something and this is what your avatar looks like, you have an EVOX thing on, or like you've got EVOX turned on your Liletka head, but you don't have an EVOX head texture. So I am actually just going to add. This is a tattoo that I am putting over the top. Bam. Okay. So now I have this tattoo that's think of this like they put this painted layer right over the top of the brown potato. And now here is Ruth. If I were to come back over here and click EVO, it would distort it, just like it did before, because it's not set up correctly. So you'd click EVOX, and now Ruth is looking a lot better. Okay, so one more thing, and I will talk about animations extensively in another video. But for this one, I have got to put this on because she's wiggling all over the place. This is called an animation overrider. Um, The an animation overrider is what animations are what's used to make your avatar move, and an overrider is something that you wear, your avatar would wear. You'd click add, and it'll make like a little HUD over here. You won't It's off screen for this video. But what it does is it cycles through animations so that your avatar isn't like moving all around while you're trying to build and, make them wear things. So now she's standing there with her animation overrider. Okay. Okay, going back to our kit of stuff that came with our head, let's try to, you remember the system eyes I told you about that you can't get rid of? Let's try using the eyes that came with the Avalon head. Aha, okay. So you're going to notice you've got, this is like the double eye issue. Those are the eyes that came with the kit, and we really like those. Let's say we'd rather use those than the gray eyes, the system eyes. So this is where we apply one of those alphas, right? So because this is a mesh, we want to use a mesh piece with an applier texture, right? We want to use this HUD to change the color of the eyes on this mesh piece that has been attached to her eyeballs. So we're going to add this alpha. So it will hide. It's telling you that's for if you want your baked on mesh head textures with the skin, which is what you have, and the baked on mesh textures of the body, which you also have, but you want to use the applier eyes, which would be these eyes where you use this HUD to change the texture on the prim. All right. So now we've got that. And so here I can make them like gray. I can make both of them gray if I want. So now she's got gray eyes here, they're rezzing in, or I can change them maybe to like both brown if I wanted. I can even change the inside of the sockets with, like, eyeliner and stuff, so I could give her white liner if I wanted, and all of that stuff will change. So I'm not gonna go through this whole thing, you guys can play with this. Material, think of this like adding shiny or even more texture to the top of the body or the face, like pores that you can see here or whatever. Those types of things are, just more ways to add more definition. Okay, one more thing. You might notice too, she's like, why does she have her ears gray? Well, when you use a mesh head, with the ears themselves will have like their own texture. Here are the ear textures that go along with, a lot of these come with the head. But I want to, if you buy a skin, for example, let's see here. I'm wearing Nika. So when you buy a skin or a tattoo of a skin to put on a mesh EVOX head like this, um, it will also give you an ear texture that matches it. That's what this is. Let's see here. This is EVOX. Yep, see ears, and then you just right click it and click add, and it will match your ears to your head. And a lot of times when you buy skins, they come with these tattoo layers. So this is kind of like the last, icing on the cake when it comes to like creating skin. This is what we're making our skin for our avatar. We're making the avatar before we dress them. You have all of these tattoo layers and you can layer them on top of each other to give yourself even more definition. So like right now, here's the textures on the ears, like I told you guys. But I could put like maybe I want to give her red lips, and this will be red tinted lips that will go over the top of her skin to make her look like she's wearing lipstick. See, her lips are more red. We could also let's give her some cat eyeliner and some sunburn. See now, like we've got a little bit of more sunburn, and she's got this like really dramatic cat eye up here. On the HUD for the Avalon, I can make her lashes shorter if I wanted, and it'll change them around. You can make them. You decide how long you want them to be here. All right, so we get the idea about those. So think of this like this is what my avatar looks like before I have put any clothes on them at all. This is skins, baked on mesh, how to make a potato not a potato anymore, and do some basics.